Hello.
Hello.
We are Loops on That Bars, and today we are at Drievliet.
Drievliet. Yes.
in The Hague, Netherlands,
Yeah.
which is a small family park. Not a lot of big thrill coasters and rides here, but there's enough for everybody to enjoy from the looks of it.
Yeah.
Time is currently 10:47. We've been in the park for 45 minutes or so.
Yeah.
We've had a wander around because the weather is appalling, to say the least. But we thought we'd use the time productively, have a look round, see what's what. It doesn't look like the park is too busy today. There's a lot of school trips here, but they seem to be spreading themselves out nicely. Big highlight for me here is going to be Formula X, which is a Maurer X car. First one of these that I'll have ever done because I missed out on G-Force at Drayton Manor, so I'm really looking forward to that. We can record on rides as well, which is nice to see. We're just sat in I don't know what the name of the cafe is, but I'll spin the camera around, and in fact, you can see it here now. They've got real plants growing around it, and it's really, really pretty.
Yeah.
It's in like a pirate area of the park, and it just fits so well.
Yeah.
So we've had, as you'll see here, we've just had a cup of tea, sausage roll, and what was it?
Apple flap.
An apple flap.
Or an apple Danish for the uninitiated.
Yeah, really tasty. €11.50 for the whole lot. Not unreasonably expensive, but it could be a bit cheaper. But I'm not going to complain about price there. Quite tasty. Tea was nice, but
it was,
not enough. Choice of teas that weren't fruit teas.
Yeah.
But that's a small minor thing. So we'll carry on with the day, wander around, see what we get done. Hopefully there's going to be a break in the weather a bit later on.
Fingers
crossed.
Yeah. And here we are.
In the car.
Because as you can see, it's the equivalent to a nautical storm out there.
Yes, it's the weather has turned bloody horrible, but it's not ruined the day. It's just obviously meant that we finished a bit earlier than expected. The park closes at 5. It's now 4:28. So it's not exactly a massive early finish or anything like that. But anyway, the park itself doesn't have an awful lot to talk about in terms of individual attractions. But there are a few standout ones. But we'll go through those individually in a second. The park as a whole, it is more aimed at sort of
younger families. It's younger families, children sort of up to probably about 12 realistically.
Yeah, 12, 13, and it'll then get them ready for the bigger parks and with the bigger rides.
Yeah.
There's plenty of little train rides for the younger ones. There's carousels, chair swings, and then you've got things like a breakdance. There's a Huss Troika as well as a Huss Enterprise. All the way up to I think it's a KMG Afterburner, one of the since like Vortex at Thorpe Park. That seems to be their biggest, most thrilling ride. So that's kind of it for like sort of a general overview of what you can expect, at Drievliet. Now we'll talk about the individual attractions that do stand out.
Yeah.
So first, attraction that's kind of a standout is Formula X. which is a Maurer X car. Mentioned it earlier on in the video, and you'll see it flying around the track here. And it's something that I wanted to specifically come here for because I missed out on G-Force at Drake Manor. We both did. And riding that makes me wish that I could have had a go on G-Force because it was incredibly comfortable. Now I've heard that G-Force wasn't so comfortable, but that was.
That was, yeah. Even for me, who's a bit chubby, we managed to get in. The first time round I did have to take my coat off, and we did it in the rain, and it weren't very nice.
But then we did it again
then we did it when it was dry.
Yes, and it only runs a single train, as you've probably seen. It does have a camera on it, and I would have thought that the camera would have taken a photograph of the whole train, but it doesn't. It takes photographs of each individual row, which is pretty cool. Yeah, nothing really much to shout about. It's got 2 inversions, it's got a launch. The launch wasn't the best, but it didn't need to be, because if it went any faster or like that, it would be stupid, because it's not a big coaster.
No, it's a little coaster in a little area with a launch, and it's well themed, and it's smooth, it's comfortable, and it's the perfect kind of introduction ride for the smaller ones that are finding their little legs to get on the bigger stuff when they get tall enough. Yeah,
it feels like half of Icon's launch. It's got that same sort of acceleration rate, but doesn't last as long, and obviously doesn't reach as high a top speed, but it still gets up to, I think it's 70 kilometres an hour, which, I'm just looking at my speedo, is somewhere around the region of 45 miles an hour, which is still pretty decent for a launch coaster. So yeah, that's Formula X.
So we followed this up with Twistrix. Now this
Twistrix.
Sorry.
Twistrix.
This is the one I was looking forward to, because I'd seen videos of this, and as far as I was concerned, it looked like a proper Waltzer roller coaster.
Waltzer on wheels, yeah. But
not necessarily a spinning coaster. I know what they are. They're good, but this is really good. If you get the weight ratios right in the car, or you move your weight correctly, you can properly do that all the way around the track practically. And it's brilliant. It's only a little coaster, but that's all it needs. And if, like me, you are a funfair person, you love your waltzers, you are gonna love this ride.
It seemed to. We've had quite a lot of school kids here, and the school kids seem to really, really enjoy it. They were getting off straight back on, and at the end, I think we walked down to the bottom of the park, past Twistrix, and there was a couple of kids on it. We walked back up, and those 2 kids were still on it. I think they were just sort of rinsing it because they could, because pretty much all the rides have been walk on. But yeah, this is another Maurer, Maurer Son spinning coaster, but this one, to my understanding, is completely unique. It's not like Dragon's Fury and Spinball Wizard in that it's a single car. It's a train with what can only be described as waltzer seats on it. We've tried it a couple of seats, because we had 3 goes all together. Front row didn't really spin so much, but the middle of the train, they really, really spin. So it's definitely worthwhile a visit for Formula X and Twistrix just on their own, because they're, to my knowledge, completely unique in how they work. So that's Twistrix and Formula X. The last 3 that we're going to talk about is Coppermine, which is Coppermine, Dynamite Express, and Spook Museum. Not because they're particularly standout attractions, because Coppermine is it's a standard Maurer Wild Mouse, but it is particularly brutal. We thought that the one at Hansa Park was rough. This one takes the biscuit on that one.
It does, yeah. I mean, there's we were one car, one row in
Tracy
one
was
car.
in the back, I was in the front. We were in the same car, and it was chucking us about, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was chucking us both about, to the extent that my lap bar clicked in another one on one of the downward hills, and it was just slidey, and you were just constantly boof, 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 around the sides. It was like, right, this is pinball.
It wasn't particularly nice. On the contrary, Dynamite Express was quite comfortable, and sort of got something like a unique layout, but it's another powered mine train. I'm starting to find them very samey now.
It was a nice mine train in the fact that it had a different layout, had a nice little helix on it, and
2-lap cycle, weren't it?
2-lap cycle, and fairly quick loading, unloading.
Yeah, because they seem to not check the restraints in that come and check each individual one. What they do is they walk down the back of the train and they look at the back. There'll be something on the back of each individual car that tells them that the restraints are clicked in place. Because we were watching them loading, and we're marking like, they're not checking the restraints.
Yeah,
they came to us when we were on, and the lady asked us without even checking our restraints. Can you just you click it once more?
Yeah.
And then she gave us a thumbs up. So there clearly is something on the back of the train that tells you that there's an issue with the restraint and such.
Yeah.
Then the other one was Spook Museum, which is essentially a ghost train, and it's cheesy as all balls.
It's cheesy, but that's where its charm is. They have actually put a little bit of effort in it, and they've got quite a few Egyptian themed scenes.
It's a museum, isn't it? So,
museum, and then they've randomly got some doctor cutting a patient's head off.
Yeah,
which was quite funny.
We'll go into that sort of side of things, the explanation a little bit in a moment, and it will make more sense in a moment. But it was all right. I wouldn't have wanted to queue a long time for it, knowing what it is. It's not Blackpool Pleasure Beach's Ghost Train, and it's certainly probably not as good as Ghost Train at Thorpe Park, which is probably something you never hear. But it was all right for being indoors and obviously out of the rain. So that's those three. So the final bit's going to be talk about the food and wrap up what we liked, what we didn't like. So as you saw earlier on, we did have a cup of tea a sausage roll and pastries, and they were tasty. Then for dinner we went into the same place, and Tracy had a pizza, and I had a a premium burger, wasn't
premium
it?
Cheeseburger and chips.
And as you'll see, it was quite premium to keep up with its name. It was essentially a cheeseburger in what you'd probably call a cob. And I think it was a bit more than I really wanted. I could have done with the bread being replaced with a regular burger bun myself. I feel like that's a bit too much for a burger. That bread's wasted on that burger because that bread was tasty. But I have no quarrel whatsoever with that in terms of food. Yours was tasty, wasn't it?
My pizza was really, really nice. I enjoyed my pizza. It was a big sort of 12-13 inch pizza as well, which I wasn't expecting. However, we did pay the best part $13.50 for it, so I did expect it to be round about that size at a bare minimum.
Yeah, the whole meal for my burger and chips and drink was €17.50. The same for Tracy. So they were quite pricey. You did feel like you were getting quality there though, at least. But I just feel like maybe lower the price and possibly lower the quality just ever so slightly. That's just my take on that one. But that leads us nicely into sort of the start of the negatives, the stuff that we didn't like, which we'll follow up with the good stuff. Negatives being that there wasn't many places to pick from for food or even for drinks.
No, drinks were a bit lacking across the park, as was the food offerings. Now, they have got another main restaurant, and we feel that potentially, because it's a midweek day and obviously they had school trips, that's why it wasn't open. So we totally expect that we've gone on a day when they're probably not open.
Yeah, so I'm not going to worry too much about that.
But they could do with a couple more drink stands around the park.
Yeah, even just a vending machine at the top of the park. Because I'll do a Google Maps overview here, so you can see where the eateries are and such. We walked from the bottom of the park all the way up to the top because we were intending to go into the shop. But the shop wasn't open and there's no vending machine up there, so we ended up having to walk literally all the way back down the bottom of the park just to get a drink, which leads us into the way that the shops operate. So there's two gift shops. There's one at the very top of the park and there's one at the very bottom. We went at the top of the park, and no matter what time we went, it was locked.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get into it. Then there's sorry, someone's just beeping. Then there's the shop at the bottom of the park, which operates in a really weird way. It feels like a really old school shop.
It does, yeah. Everything's displayed in the windows with the prices, and then you go up to a window with a person behind it, and you tell them what you want. Basically, if you think kind of like your prize amusement places in amusement.
Yeah, prize booth and in amusements where you're going to exchange your tickets, only you're exchanging real money for the stuff.
It's kind of like that, and I understand why they've done it, because they are a kids' park, and kids will walk into a shop, pick up something, and not realise they've picked it up and walked out with it. So I understand why they've done that.
It's a good way for stopping thieving, but it does take away a little bit from the customer experience, I think. Yeah. I'd have liked to have gone into the main shop, but anyway. That
said, though, they did have enough of their own merchandise. They did have lanyards, they did have pens, they did have pencil cases.
Plates.
I picked up a puzzle.
There was like a nice little blue and sort of blue paint, white plate, almost like the Chinese design.
Yeah.
But there wasn't extensive merch or out like that, but we didn't really expect it, which was absolutely fine because it's only a tiny little park.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the third thing that I'd like to say in terms of negatives is I do wish that they would invest in this one a little bit. Because start of the park, I think it's was it Lol Atoll, which is the area is really
seaside
pretty.
themed.
It's a really pretty area. All the rides are themed around it, and
it's quite weird seeing an Enterprise with an octopus all dangled over it.
Yeah, so that's really good. But as you get further and further down the park, it feels like less and less money's been invested into it.
Yeah.
And I feel like the pirate area, and I think they've got almost like a Mexican kind of area.
Yeah,
the pirate and Mexican areas kind of mixed together, didn't they, with the mine train and such?
Yeah.
They could really do with a little bit of investment. And we had a couple of breakdowns with what was that train?
El Loco. It's a little train, so you get on it, it goes round a track. But because of the rain today, it kept on shorting out and losing power.
Something wasn't right with it anyway. So we got an evacuation on it, which you'll see here. Yay! But other than that, there's nothing really else to complain about. They're only little niggles. And it's not ruined the day at all.
No, it hasn't.
Positives being that there's a decent ride selection for of all ages. I've had fun here, even though I'm a big thrill seeker. There's no Vekoma SLCs or big woody beasts or anything like that. There's a Mauer Rex car, and that's basically your lot. It's great for all ages. The staff have been all really friendly.
The staff have been excellent today. They have all been really, really friendly. And I got chatting to the guy on the train once we got evacuated, and 20 minutes later he saw us and he was walking past me to go somewhere else and like, got the train back running. I was like, all right, okay, I'll come and ride.
The staff have been great. The rides have been great. Even though the weather's been crap, the park has felt like it's they're still welcoming and stuff like that. It's not like, oh, we can't bother because the rain's here. No, it's felt like it's operated as though it's the middle of the summer's day. Everyone's been lovely. All right, the school kids were a bit of a nuisance, but what can you do? It's school trip season. We didn't realise that. So, any final comments on Drievliet?
No, it's absolutely wonderful park, and if you're going to come over and you've got a family, bring them here because they're going to love it. Yeah,
it's certainly a great introduction from that into Wallaby Holland, Wallaby Belgium, Efteling. To be fair, Efteling probably does that as well, but this is worth a visit at least once. Feels like this is what Slagharen could have been. So anyway, that's us signing out from Drievliet. Next one of these will be Bellewaerde and the Aqua Park. I hope I'm saying Bellewaerde right. I've got to wait till we get there to ask somebody. But anyway, that's us signing out from Drievliet.
Cheers. Bye.